Now you're going to want to take a screwdriver, smaller one, with your rag. Put your rag in it and go into that hole and just kind of clean out all around there. Okay. For that hole anyway, you want to do that. Then you want to take your jet after you've cleaned it out and put it back in. And take a little bit bigger one so I can just basically make sure it's tight in there. There we go. Okay. Now that's in there. This is fairly clean now, and there's a lot of, look at all that crap that was in that carburetor. Gross. And I kind of washed it out with the carb cleaner. It just kind of came flooding out of there. You're going to want to take your needle here. Make sure there's nothing on the end of it. I can see that there's, you can't really, it's not really going to focus on it unless I have it in macro mode, which I don't. You just want, I can see there's already dirt on the end of this. Take some carb. Okay, now you're going to want to take this and your needle and put it back in the hole. Now that's on there. Now you're going to want to basically just clean up the outside of your carb. I mean, it's always good to have things looking nice, but it's also just good to, you know, have everything clean. Take this off, little cover that went right there. Here it is, right here. That has some gross fuel in it. Whoa, that is really, really, really varnishy. Take your diaphragm off. Carefully so it doesn't rip. There. Diaphragm is this black thing. You're just going to want to put this in your rag, but don't just rub it together. Just kind of pat it so it gets all the gross stuff off. And then kind of just leave that to dry. Make sure there's nothing on the diaphragm or this is going to be holes. Make sure there's no crud in here or old gas. Which there definitely is. It smells really bad. Make sure you don't lose the spring that goes in this hole. Right here. There's a little spring that goes in there. And make sure everything is out of there too. Out of the inside of this. Then you're going to want to spray in these holes with carb cleaner too. Okay. When you spray in this hole right here, it's going to come out the end of the long tube. If it does, that means that your passageway is clear, which is exactly what you want. When you spray in the small hole, it's going to come out of here. Make sure it does. That means you're also clear. Now you're going to want to go ahead, just make sure you have this whole surface wiped down and clean, fairly clean. You're going to want to put this spring right here that came in here, back in here, and then the cover that goes over that back on that. Then you're going to want to put your diaphragm back in. Opposite way. There. Now you're going to want to take your new your cover here that you've cleaned out well and put that back on too. After you put your diaphragm back on. Now that you've let this sit for about half an hour or an hour, you're just going to want to make sure that it got most of the dirt out, which mine definitely did. You're going to want to then take your rag with a screwdriver. Put your screwdriver on your rag like this. Try to do it with one hand. And stick it down in this hole here. So that kind of soaks up all that. Gets most of that stuff out of there. Or you can take your finger if you have small fingers. Try doing it with mine. No, mine's not going to fit because my fingers aren't that small. Now you have that out, just gotta dump it out a little bit. Okay, now you want to take some gas, just a little bit of gas. And you're going to want to put it in your gas tank. Then take your gas cap and put it on the top there and just kind of slosh it all around. Outside, of course. And then you're going to want to go ahead and put your carb back together.